And we are talking about the, it's always Hanukkah, Parshat Mikeitz, the lights, the candles. And I want to concentrate today a little bit about issue of responding, or how to respond and how to utilize certain, decision making when we come about as it reflects from this week's parasha. You can put the other one on if you want. So on our parasha, we have the reaction of Yaakov to the demand of so-called the ruler of Egypt to bring Binyamin down to him. And then Yaakov refuses by saying to his children, Oti shikaltem, you made me into a casualty. In other words, you took away my son. Yosef eineno. Yosef is not here. Shimon eineno. Shimon also is gone. Ved Binyamin tikhu alai hayu kulana. And you're going to take away Binyamin from me as well, on top of all? Like, what's the matter with you guys? As soon as he said that, comes Reuven, and he says, which of course Reuven was the Bechor, was the firstborn, and it says, Et shne banai tamit im lo avienu elecha. Kill two of my sons if I'm not going to bring him back to you. Lichora, it might seem a very noble thing to do. Tena oto al yadi v'ani ashivenu elecha. Let me do it, and I'll give me Binyamin, and let me do it. I'll bring him back to you. But Yaakov says he's stubborn. Yaakov is stubborn. Says no. It says Vayomer lo yered benimkem. My son is not going to go down with you. Ki achiv met, because his brother died. Vehu levado nishar, and he's the only one left before my beloved wife. V'ikraenu ason baderech asher telechu ba, v'oratem et severti beyagon shaula. And if something will happen to me, I would die even with greater griefs in my old age. I don't need this. So he says no. Later on in the psukim, when there is more hunger in the land, right? This time Yehuda tries. And Yehuda goes to his father, and he tells him the following: Vayomer Yehuda el Israel aviv. See, it says to Israel, and he calls him Israel, and he says to him, Vayomer Yehuda, Shelecha hanar iti, give me the boy, let's go, I'll take the boy. V'nakuma v'nelecha v'nichye v'lo namut, and in order for us not to die. Gam anachnu, we will go. Gam ata, you would go. Gam tapenu, and our children will go also. Anochi arvenu miyadi tevakshenu im lo aviti ve'elecha ve'itzagtiv lefanecha ve'chatati lecha kol hayamim. It says, I guarantee you that. Surprisingly enough, Yaakov says, all right, fine. What's the difference between what Yehuda said, that Yaakov said, okay, to what Reuven asked him, and in a way, he was very harsh with him. I mean, from what it seems from the pasuk, he's yelling at him. I mean, we have here, in a way, two different styles of leadership. They're both acting in a leadership role. I think, if just looking like this, Reuven should be praised. And instead of being praised, Yaakov yells at him. I mean, come on, Yaakov. Guys tell you, kill my two sons. I mean, that's a tremendous leadership. Yehuda says, some kind of okay, fine, we take him. So what's the difference? And we really need to understand deeply. We have to get down to the bottom of things. And again, everything that we learn in the parasha has something to do with us as individuals as well. I mean, it has to tell something about us, what we do, and what is the processes in which we all experience. So we'll try to see if we can cover that as well. So try to learn. So we need to really understand this deep. Why when Reuven told him, he says, and really, for a guy to give his 2 kids, Yakar Mikol, it's 2 kids, and Yaakov says no. However, Rashi already, felt that. And Rashi says the following, it says, Lo kibel dvarav shel Reuven. Yaakov did not accept or did not go with the idea of Reuven. Amar, he said to himself, Bechor ze shoteu. This is my first boy, is shoteh. In Ladino, which is the language of my ancestors, they said Bochor el Bovo. Bovo is like, a little thick-headed. Bechor el Bovo. Why? Because the Bechor always, he needs to figure out himself, so he does it. So the Bechor הזה זום Bovo, הוא קצת טיפש זה. Of course, Yaakov spoke Ladino, he was a Sfaradi. So, didn't speak Yiddish. But, yeah, it was so, by the way, זה לא קראו לו ינקלה, קראו לו יעקב, זה היה ספרדי, מה אתה חושב? So, I'm sorry. Actually, I'm not, but, whatever. So, he says, Bechol ze shoteu, this guy, my first boy, is some matter with him. Why? הוא אומר להעמיד בניו, he says to kill his sons. וכי בניו הם לא בניי. What the guy is thinking? Take my 2 sons and kill them. Are you out of your mind? I'm going to kill my own grandchildren, but they're my children also. What's wrong with you, Reuven? What are you thinking? But still, we need to look into that. Regardless of what Rashi says, and should I say, especially because of what Rashi says, we need to look to those things differently. Because, again, why does Yaakov trust him about that? Now, for that, I'm going to... You see, it's better if you walk in Queens, not in the city. For that, we need to look 1 second at a similar case, maybe similar, that happened though. So let's take it 1 second and frame out. We'll do a Kurosawa movie now, and we'll do frame out. Let's go back now to Yosef and Paro. Paro is really amazed from Yosef. And his amazement comes from 2 psukim who are really in proximity to one another. However, it seems like they don't really fit or they don't really match because they seem like they're contradicting one another. You all know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah, what am I talking about? You don't know. So, okay, fine. So the psukim are like this. Vayomer Paro el avadav. And Paro said to his servants, Hanimtza kaze ish asher ruach Elohim bo? Is there such a man that has such a divine spirit in him? And then we says, Vayomer Paro el Yosef, Achar hodia Elohim otcha et kol zot ein navon v'chacham mincha. After he did that, so he says, I really realize somebody so smart and wise as you. So in the second pasuk, Yosef is being portrayed to us as a wise man. He's, navon, he's clever, he's wise. In the first one, it's being presented to us as a person, as ruach Elokim bo, as a divine person in him. Is there a difference between the two? Why is it like that? So we need to understand that wisdom, right, intellect, is the ability to analyze and to figure things out and then to put things together. It's the intellect that he has. Ruach Elokim indicates on something that comes from outside, and a spirit or an inspiration that came from outside yourself has nothing to do with your wisdom. It has to do with something that was put into you. That ruach that we talked about, it's something that it's above man and his abilities. It comes from Hashem, from Shamayim, from the heavens. Years ago, there was a person I actually watched at the time. His ceremony, he won a Nobel Prize. His name is Daniel Kahneman. I would recommend you to read his book. And he wrote a fascinating book. Again, I hope you guys would actually read the book. And the name of the book is To Think Fast, to Think Slow. And he points out that a person has two separating formats or patterns of thinking. And each and every one of them works in a different manner in different times based on the challenges that facing the man at that point. He compares the process of thinking, the first one that we have, by, for example, analyzing a facial expression. You know, if the person in front of you, you can tell right away if he's angry at you or he's happy with you, and so on and so forth. And we're able to translate it to a thinking. We're able to analyze it quickly, then adjust ourselves according to that. The process, which is the process of thinking, which is the slower one, is the one in which we solve, for example, a complicated equation in math or chemistry or physics or something like that. And the first process is being used through a system that he calls a system 1, and the second one, he calls it system 2. And he says the following: System 1 operates in an automatic fashion and very quick, by putting very little effort, if any at all, without any control, over reasoning over control. It just happens like this quickly. The other system, System 2, you need to pay attention. You need to listen to things. You need to pay attention to things. And it really requires a lot of mental effort to put into that, in terms of being able to choose. Or you want to being able to choose in terms of concentration, figure things out. It takes a lot of time, a lot of effort. So if we're going to look using that, if we're going to look at what Yosef did. So it seems that after Paro told Yosef the story of his dreams, which is the dreams of the cows and the dreams of the wheat stalks that they had over there, Yosef responds this way: Vayomer Yosef el Paro, Chalom Paro echad. It's one dream. Hu et asher Elohim oseh yigid leParo. Whatever God is going to do, tell you guys, he was being quick, not a problem. Sheva parot tovot, sheva shanim, and so on and so on and so forth, and so on and so forth. And then he says, Hu hadavar asher dibarti el Paro, asher Elohim oseh hara et Paro. Now he's explaining to him, Hine sheva shanim baot, now it's going to be 7 years, and so on. Right? And now he gives Paro an advice. Ve'ata yireh Paro ish chacham, find yourself a wise man, hello, it's me. Find yourself a wise man, and make him a ruler of Mitzrayim, and so on and so on and so forth. And so if we're going to analyze the response of Yosef by using the model that we had right now from Professor Kahneman, it says that if we take the system number 1, he acted quickly. He said right away, he gave him the answer right away. He put very little effort, if at all, in that, and in a way there was no process of thinking or something had to do with willingness. He just said it, right? Or we call it what we call Ruach HaKodesh. I mean, it just came to him, it just came out of his mind. And the response of Paro to that seems to fit that, and it says Hanitza Kazeh Ish Asher Ruach Elohim Bo. Do we find such a person with such a divine spirit in him? Because the answer came right away, on the spot. And the other one is the second reason. So if we're going to apply it like this, now let's go back to less noise, please. If we go back, let's go back to Reuven and Yehuda now. By Reuven, we see the quality of being reckless, being hasty. He's very quick. By the way, as Yaakov Avinu said, when he gives him the bracha, pachaz kemayim al totav. He's very reckless. He's very quick. He operates like out of instinct. He doesn't think twice before he does things. And Chazal will doresh for that in Otzar HaMidrashim, by the way, you could look. It says, Pachas kamayim, kamayim anigarim arsa b'zrizut. He's so quick, like water that you pour, it goes quickly straight on the floor. It's not like honey or molasses, you know. Goes straight down on the floor. Sha'arishar mashkin yordim benachat. Other types of, you know, of liquids are more slow. For example, yain. Of course, the wine was thicker, right? Yain, chalav, dvash, vereach lo nishar bakli כשהם נשפכים ממנו. כך על כך, כעסך הבערת. In other words, you're so quick, you're so eager, and then really nothing is left. You have no influence whatsoever. And that is, of that point, of course, comes to play a role in the, no, he asked me to put it away because it's making noise and it's really annoying.
Yeah,
Sam. So that point comes to play a role, and we see it right away when Reuven, I mean, for the people who watch us right away, you have to understand the guys are hungry and there's Chinese food here that somebody donated and they really cannot control themselves. So right now they're operating under mechanism number one. It's not really paying much thought. You know, as you see, like, you know, as you see, this is a biology, psychology class. So when he did his first sin, Reuven did his first sin, where he took the bed of Bilhah, and his father gave him tochechai. He says to him, Ki alita al mishkaveh avicha. You weren't thinking what you were doing. You actually slept in my bed. And of course, by then it was a big deal to do so. Reuven does not think twice. It doesn't have what we call shikul hadat. Shikul hadat comes from lishkol et hadat. Dat means intellect. You have to weigh things out. Doesn't think twice. He's very impulsive. Bam, 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 1, 2, 3. Doesn't think what he's doing. And that causes tremendous damage. This is like an elephant going into a china store. You're acting too fast. You don't think twice. Okay, let's do this. Let's think about it. Oh, no. Let's go. It's very dangerous. There is time for it. And there is ways that you need to do it. However, most of the time it causes damage. You know, like those people who don't think about their actions. One day they hear, one day they go to a different yeshiva, then they jump to Israel, then they come back here, then they go to school, then they drop school, and what happens at the end? Time goes, and it's the same place. Jumping. No shikul dat, no weighing of the consequences of what's going to happen. Sometimes, of course, it's good. However, even though his kavanah over Reuven, his intent, was really a good intent, he meant well, but the result is bad. All bad ideas started with a good idea. You should know that. And also by us, Reuven and his brothers just arrived from Mitzrayim, and they already told the father exactly what happens to them. Immediately, Reuven jumps, and he says, without any thinking, kill my 2 sons if I'm not going to bring it to you. Habibi, relax. Don't be, you ate hot peppers or something. Just relax. Right away, without thinking, without nothing. When a person is willing to give everything that is dear to him in such a quick way, that already says, wait a minute, I got to think about this. For example, if somebody comes to you, and you all are such darling guys, you all love to learn Torah, but when somebody comes to you, okay, let's go have something to drink. All right, let's go. You need to ask yourself 1 second, how was I willing to give up on something that's supposedly so dear for me so quickly? And if you have interaction of people like that, you also need to ask, do I want to have such people around me? That's a catastrophe going to happen. Oh, let's do something crazy. Let's go on the top of the Empire State Building, climb on the antenna, we'll take selfies. Then you find yourself like gliding all the way to New Jersey with the free-for-all, falling on the head of some old lady and then killing yourself with her or whatever. It's terrible. And there are people like that. They don't think much. Again, sometimes it's good. Most of the time it is not. If you're going to apply the fight or flight kind of thing, okay, I hear you. But sometimes you need to do it. You don't come to a place of a danger, you says, oh, 1 second, I see a big wave coming. Is this a tsunami? Or sure it's not. Is this, you're gonna, let me see, let me call my rabbi. Habibi, run! Yeah, we're not talking about this. Most of the time our actions or decisions that we have to make in life are not this life and death decision. In a case like this, right away, you gotta apply it. And that's what we need, both of them. Reuven does not have it. And maybe I'll show you, I'll be able to show you the difference between Yosef and why for Yosef it worked, and why for Reuven it didn't work, and we needed Yehuda for that. And a person that somebody senses like this, most likely is a very irresponsible person, usually a very irresponsible person that doesn't really weigh in the meaning of his words, or what exactly is going to happen. He just does not think. And for that, the Midrash says, Bamidbar Rabbah says, Verashi also says on this pasuk, on Mishlei, Nachala mevahelet barishona, ve'acharita lo tevorach. Nachala mevahelet barishona, that a person is very quick to take something very quickly. Yalla, let's go, let's not do it. For example, Bnei Gad u'Bnei Reuven. Right? Again, Gad and Reuven. What happened for them? They saw right away the places there. I said, okay, we forget it. We like this. Let's not think about it. Let's stay here. And what did they say right away? We're going to build and they're justifying. These are processes that we all do. They're justifying why they're not going to go to the promise. I mean, for crying out loud. For 400 years you were in Egypt. You were a bunch of slaves. For 40 years you and your children are walking in the desert. Now you're at the gates of the promised land and you don't want to come in. I mean, what is wrong with you? Why? Because you're so hasty to make a quick dollar? And you know what happened to them? They got lost. So how did they justify it? Again, we do the same thing. How did they justify it? It's very simple. We have a lot of cattle. We can't do is start justifying the wrong decision. And what we're going to do, immediately we're going to build fences. We're going to build here fences for cattle and cities for our children. In other words, they made the ikar tafel, veta tafel ikar. Whatever is important, they made not important, and the other way around. First of all, you're making gederot for your tzon. First of all, you worry also about your sheep. Then you worry about your children. Well, that's exactly what their father did, Reuven. And you see it right away how it lingers. Of course, there is a way. You're going to tell me what? So if my parents or my grandparents or my ancestors were like this, so I can't change myself. Of course, there is a way to change everything. And so you see this being very scared and very dramatic. It's something that Bnei Reuven have. Not like, okay, actually, nachshov. And of course, as you know, as they say, timing is everything, right? So if you take Reuven, and now you take Yehuda, what happened from Yehuda? Yehuda, the Melucha, the kings came. King David and so on and so forth, Mashiach. Yehuda is smart. He waits a little bit. If he's going to say it right away, he says he's not going to hear him. They were just gone. They don't know and all of a sudden they start telling him what happened. Telling Yukir what happened. They know, right? He knows that whatever they'll say, he's not going to listen. So he waits a little bit. Takes his time. He waits a little bit. And then it says, when there is a lot of ra'av ba'aretz, the hunger is already like really kicking in. And how do we know it? Not only that there's no food in the land, they already finished what they brought from Egypt. Yehuda is waiting until then. And only then Yehuda comes, and then he tells him the whole entire story. And it says, even more than that he is willing to take responsibility. Rabotai, the word responsibility is not, as you could say, I'm not such a big speller, but even I know that responsibility is not a four-letter word. For whatever reason, we are all afraid of it. We're all petrified out of responsibility. If you want to be a leader, you have to be, first of all, responsible. And Yehuda shows all these things that Yehuda does are the reasons why the kings and Mashiach, when he comes, are all descendants of Yehuda. Maaseh Avot, Siman Lebanim. So then he says, he takes responsibility without any kind of promises that is evident to all that he's not going to be able to keep. Right? He says, I'm taking responsibility for that. But he makes his decisions from what we call shikul adat. Again, weighing everything, being very serious about what he's got to say. He analyzed the situation, and especially with the right timing. He waited until the food is done. There's no food. Then he says what is. Timing is everything. And how does he say that? With complete confidence. I remember in 1973, right at the end of Yom Kippur, when Golda Meir, when Moshe Dayan, where the Israeli, whatever it is, the prime ministers, whoever they were, came on TV and they were giving us what's going to happen. I mean, what happened now that there was a war with Egypt and Syria and so on and so forth. They're trying to give us an image of security, but they look dead. They look like they're in panic. The only one who said that, of course, was David Eliezer, which was a Bulgarian Jew. It was the chief of staff, and he says, we're going to break their bones. Of course, later on, after Israel won the war, they made him into the scapegoat of everybody, but that's a different story. That's why they're no leaders, Rabotai. They take responsibility, and he says it, and Yehuda says it out of complete confidence. He has that quiet leadership. Not just people who are demagogues, and they yell and they scream, and they do a lot of hands motions, These are not good leaders. A leader, he says it, his words quietly, he is a quiet leader. He shows confidence. He is the rock in which people come around him. Not for the messes, but it's really for something to admire. These are the leaders we need. We don't need demagogues. Even if they're from Vermont and the Jews, we don't need this kind of people to be our leaders. I'm not mentioning any names. Right? I can't. Anyway. So that's why he merited that Yaakov gave him Binyamin to bring him to Egypt. Now, so how does it sit down with Yosef and the difference between Yaakov? It seems like that maybe Reuven acted just like Yosef, but Ruach Elokim spontaneous. However, it's not. Yosef acted, in other words, he let God stream through him. And he balanced that right away with a good advice. He balanced it with Torah. Yes, it was Hashem, it wasn't his idea. It wasn't his hasteness. He was very calculated. He let God come through him. We need to balance our ways, our acts, if we are very impulsive, with Torah, Rabotai. That's why when you go to a person who is a Baal Dea or Baal Eitza, he is a Torah scholar, you ask him a question, unless it's something simple as like, should I wait 6 hours or should I wait 6 hours? If it's a question of Yeshiva Dal or something that is deep, he will tell you, let me think about it. Unless it's an emergency, but then you trust his Torah, because the Torah, in a way, when he gives that, when the rabbi or this Baal Eitza gives you that advice, in a way, it's like Ruach HaKodesh that speaks from Yosef without any personal interaction or any personal colors to come in it. It's clear from Hashem, clear Torah. That's called Da'at Torah. Da'at Torah is equal, Rabotai, I can tell you this, Da'at Torah is equal to Ruach HaKodesh. When you are mechaven to the Da'at of Torah, you posek lefi Da'at Torah, b'shikul Da'at, you're clear, you're not a hothead that just shooting things from the hip out of control. You can't Most likely, if you will give you a gun and you shoot like this out of control, it's the funniest thing. Those people that take AK-47 and just spray like this. They don't kill anybody. Maybe the friends they kill, but they don't kill anybody. Meanwhile, you're going to have a sharpshooter who's going to aim, boom, one after the other. That's Da'at Torah. So when we are hasty like this and impulsive like this, we need to balance this with Torah. We need to balance this with Da'at Torah. And we need to understand that. It's very easy to get excited, like the masses, like the hooligans. Burn the witch, you know what I'm saying? Monty Python, that's kind of a thing. I mean, life is like a Monty Python show. It's ridiculous. We need some seriousness, heaviness. We need to show responsibility. We need to think about what we need to think and what we need to say, and we need to say it at the right time. Not everything that you feel like saying should be said. And if you are, and listen, most of the time, you don't see everything that is behind the scenes and things that are going. However, if you have a person that has shikul hadat, he has like this, it might seem weird to you, but you don't see anything. And when you open your mouth, you seem like the imbecile. Because you don't know anything. You saw A, you saw B, and you assume that they're going the same thing. But they're not. There's a lot of things involved. A person that is shikul hadat and is posek according to Torah, and you don't understand him, the problem is not with him, the problem is with you. Because that is like Ruach HaKodesh. And you should know that now it's Chanukah, the lights of Chanukah, and so on and so forth. So there are certain things that we need to do. There are certain things that we need to do, without thinking, without saying, hold on one second, let me measure, there's shiur, there's no shiur, yes, man. You see an old lady falling on the floor, you say, no, she's really an old lady, well, let me see, shiur, maybe Chazon Ish here, she didn't really fall, let her fall again, You go help her, right? Or help him, or help anybody. There are certain things. However, when something that needs to be, you need to make a decision. You need to make a business decision. Anybody that will try to push you to make a quick decision, no, make it, you lose it. You say, you know what, it's not for me, I'm stepping down. Because most likely, if you're going to be pushed to that, is that the person who's standing in front of you knows your weakness, knows the fact that you are hot-headed and you are hot on things, and he will push you, manipulate you to make a mistake. He says, excuse me, you know what, it sounds like a good idea, but I really need to think about it. Oh, let me think of it, baby. Let me sleep on it. Yeah. Paradise by the dashboard light. So, let's just think about things. Let's not jump into things. If there is a mitzvah to do, go ahead and do it. Why? Because the Torah tells us, when it comes to mitzvah, it's a mitzvah you gotta do. Anything else? Rabotai b'shikul hadat. Learn to slow down. Those are the things that we are looking and we're trying to implant into you when we actually learn Torah. We call it in Bet Medrash language, we call it svarot keres. Like reasoning that you come out of your stomach, like almost lehabdil chad v'shalom, a burp. It just comes like this. You're not even thinking about what you're doing. You're just saying things like that. Just think about it. Measure, think, compare, contrast, analyze, be responsible, be respectful. That's called becoming a Ben Torah, not becoming impulsive. You see a nice girl, not right away, okay, let's go get married. You need to see, you need to ask, is her midot, what's her hashkafa? She wants a TV at home, she doesn't want a TV at home, she wants you to learn, she doesn't want you to learn, she wants to learn half a day, full day. You need to analyze all these things. Don't look at looks outside. Look at the real things. Lefi ha'enaim shel Torah, according to the eyes of Torah. Measure things according to the Torah. You're going to calculate your actions according to the Torah. You would not be ever mistaken. You're going to calculate things according to your emotions, your feelings, your this. Rabotai, this is not the Sigmund Freud session now, laying on the sofa and talk to me about your feelings from this is not what we're doing now. This is life. This is real business. For that, you have to pay somebody to listen to your nonsense, right? And that's why psychologists cost so much money, because really nobody wants to listen to your nonsense. So at least for that, you got to pay. Sorry, psychologist. But you know what I'm saying? You need to think about what you're doing and measure it by the measurement, by the scale of the Torah. B'shikul da'at, heavy, realizing, thinking about the consequences. Sometimes, yes, you have to get up, kum ve'aseh, run. But most of the time, you have to sit down and you have to think. The same thing with the Maccabim. Now it's Hanukkah. The same thing with the Maccabim. The Maccabim took a certain risk. They took a risk. They took a tremendous responsibility to bring up the people, against the Romans. It was unthinkable. They fought like wolves. They weren't even thinking about, I'm sorry, the Romans, I said the Greeks. They weren't afraid. They were fierce. They fought. Not only with the Greeks, they fought also against the Jews that became Greeks, those who wanted to poison the essence of Am Yisrael with foreign ideas. Until today, Rabotai, until today, we admire the Greek culture, which is so far from us as mamash is east from west. Literally. And the darkness that we bring upon ourselves as a nation is the darkness represents emptiness, vacancy. And that darkness comes because there's no such thing as Jewish values. And Jewish values is not values that you get in Mount Sinai or in hospital, or you get in Jewish values as the Torah has given us. This is the measurement again. So the Maccabim fought, right? And to take the machshava, to go to a war, wasn't an easy thing to do, right? It could chas v'shalom bring to a complete destruction of Am Yisrael. However, they took responsibility, and because they took the responsibility, HaKadosh Baruch Hu helped them. They were willing to do what somebody else was not willing to do, and they took responsibility. For that, they got rewarded. So. And the reward was to actually win that battle, not the war, because the war is still being fought. The battle the historical battle against the Greeks and those who wanted to become Greeks. And so is for us. So let's all pray, first of all, that we're going to have this understanding why we need to have Torah as our guide. We all have to pray for that. And we all have to pray that if we don't, or while we are acquiring that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will have mercy on us and will send us people to guide us, because we are blind people in terms of that, to guide us, Chachamim and Baalei Etzah, Baalei De'ah, that will guide us in the proper way to go. Of course, it's more important to understand not to waste our lives, right, in nonsense like impulsiveness, like what's his name, like Reuven ibn Reuven. We should also pray that we should be able to live our dreams, not dreams our life away, and then make excuses why it's okay for us to waste our life. In other words, we need to take a responsibility for our lives, and we need to take responsibility for our actions, and we should not put the blame on somebody else for whatever is happening in our lives. We should take responsibility and understand that it's with us. And if something bad, chas v'shalom, happens, it's because we probably were not evaluating that according to the scale of Torah. And even more than that, we should do so in the most perfect way, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu would agree with our actions, that our actions will be the will of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And b'zchut zeh, we finally will be able to see the menorah light in Beit HaMikdash, in our temple, ונזכה כולנו לראות בביאת משיח צדקנו, וכל עם ישראל יחזרו בתשובה שלמה. אמן כן יהי רצון. חנוכה שמח. אמן.